In the old days, we didn't have a lot of toys or anything. We used to make stuff. I tried to build a banjo when I was in high school. So yeah, I was always interested in doing that kind of stuff. I did pearl inlay when I was in college and things like that. But it's fun to try to do something to a high degree of accuracy and beauty, even if it's a small thing. Like, we really like the nuts that we make for a guitar. When a nut, even if though it's a part of an instrument, it should be beautiful, you know, and functional. So take that, multiply it times 20. Nut's good, saddle's good, fret end's good. The hard thing is to make any money doing it, you know. The idea is that you learn to do something really well, really fast. And that just takes a really long time to do. So, you know, we're not crazy. You know, we're not just trying to do artistic things and, you know, and starve. We don't starve. You have to want to do it, and you have to be able to do it, and then you have to find somebody to do it for. This violin is a 1902 Louis Lowendahl, which is nothing really. He was a manufacturer of violins in large numbers from Berlin, but it's cool because it's from 1902, and it's like in perfect condition. In 1902, they didn't have a lot of computer numeric cutting devices, so when something was mass-produced in 1902, it was mass-produced by a bunch of people who did the same job over and over and over and over and over, and they were just great at it because from repetition. And then they were sold through Sears and some mail order houses. So you can imagine that someplace in Alabama, because that's where this was from, somebody waited at the train station for that train to pull in, and in that train was this fiddle in a box. And you know how much that must have caused some incredible excitement, because there was nothing to do in 1902. Well, my wife wanted to go to law school. I was living in North Carolina, where I was working as an occupational therapist in the state psychiatric hospital. But before that, I was living in Colorado playing in bluegrass bands. When I was working as a therapist, I thought, well, I need to do something else. So I taught myself to repair band instruments. I bought a band instrument repair manual that was written in like 1932. And then I did that around town. And when we moved here, first thing I did was I went to the offices of the Alabama Symphony. I went downtown to the school board, and then I went down to the pawn shops and told the pawn shop people that I repaired instruments. So within 2 weeks of moving here 30 years ago, I had jobs with 5 or 6 pawn shops. I was doing the work for the Alabama Educational Division, and then I did the Birmingham City Schools. And so I had jobs right away. It was amazing because nobody was doing it at all. It feels good. I traded a concertina for a violin, and I'd never seen one except for in cartoons. But I had been repairing flutes and clarinets and band instruments, so I took it apart and fixed what was leaking. And then I thought, this is cool, and I didn't know what it was. I needed to learn to do something really well, so I thought, I'll just learn to make these from scratch, because I didn't know anybody ever did it. But yeah, I just chose it and just made a decision that I'm going to learn how to do this, and I'm going to hammer it, and I'm going to stay on it. And I did it for 20 years. The concertina is technically a free reed instrument, which means that the reed inside is free, unlike a clarinet or saxophone. It has a bellows. It's a bellows-driven. Bellows to hold air, which that one does very nicely. Oh, that's nice. And as the air is pushed over top of the reed when you hold a button down, it makes a noise. There's approximately 1,000 parts in a concertina this size. I'm including every button, every screw, every piece of felt, every spring, every reed, every rivet. First, you have to draw out your fingering pattern, where you want the notes to go, what notes you want to have on your concertina. Then you have to draw out on a piece of paper your plan. And I make mine from real wood, I mean flat lumber. Then it has to be assembled carefully, symmetrically. Every step of the process depends on the preceding steps so that it all works together in harmony. Probably, for me, the most difficult thing was to learn to make the bellows. That took me about 10 years to get good at, but I'm a very slow learner. Then each reed has to be tuned. If you have a 30-button concertina, we have 60 reeds. Each reed has to be painstakingly tuned to a certain pitch. And then every time you build one concertina, the next one you build, you think, oh, I should have done a better job of the reeds, or I should have done a better job of the springs. So you make another concertina with the improvements you made from the first one. Add it again and again and again, and eventually you go from this, which is my first one, which is very ugly, however it works, to some of my later instruments, which are actually have been in museums. So that's a really pretty one. Okay, we're going to take one apart. This is a cordless drill, incidentally, if you were. It is held together with machine screws. Those are the screws. And then this is the end plate that lifts off. This is called fretwork. This pattern comes from the 1800s. Essentially, I did a gravestone rubbing of an antique concertina, and then I used that as a pattern to cut out this pattern here. Each of these spaces have to have a hole drilled through them. Then you take that space, you put it on the scroll saw, you cut out the little area. Then you go to another one, you cut it out, and then another one, until you're really, really tired of doing it. Now, the smart thing to do would to be use a CNC machine or a laser cutter that would just bang, it would be done. Done. Or hire somebody. This is a lever. It has a fulcrum and a spring, and this button, let me see here, I can see it. When you push the button down, the pad lifts off of a hole. So we had to make independently, each one of these buttons has to be turned on a lathe because you can't buy them. And then every spring has to be made by hand. There's a tiny little spring that holds this up. The next section, if I can pry it apart, here we go. There's very close tolerances, so it's, here we go. Here are the reeds. When you open the bellows up, the air goes this way and makes this reed sound. When you push the bellows together, the air goes the opposite direction and makes the reed on the other side make a noise. The next section, you can see the interior view of the bellows. And here you can see how this is a neutral pH rag board made out of cotton. And these little pieces of tape here are linen hinges. And in the corners, these are leather gussets. So there's hundreds of places where air can leak out of the bellows. So if you can get one that, if you can get it together where it doesn't leak and there's no seams, it can look like this. And that's the bellows section. So I'm really not a talented person. I really don't have any talent. But I have found that obsession and tenacity are pretty much the same thing. You know, if you obsess over something, you work real hard at it. So I taught myself to play a few songs on the concertina. And if you ever see me playing one online, I play the same thing. I only play four, but they're good.